One, I thought you might appreciate this comment from another channel where a guy said he can hear tonewood because he's played over 1,000 guitars. The only reason we can't hear it is because our ears aren't as good. I guess the new argument is that as long as every person in the audience has played 1,000 or more guitars and has perfect hearing, they can experience the wonders of your tonewood.
Well, it's a good thing there aren't any elitists in the guitar community now, are there? Hey everybody, it's Friday. Welcome to yet another episode of SMG Viewers Comments, the show that's about you, not about me. Our sponsor this week is 70,000 Tons of Metal. We're going to have a word on that in a few minutes. But anyway, let's cut the crap and get to your comments and questions.
How about a signature speaker cabinet?
Oh, dude, I don't know. It's like, that might be kind of fun. It might not. I don't know. I could definitely talk to a couple of manufacturers and see if there'd be any kind of interest in it whatsoever. The problem with, speaker cabinets is they're heavy and shipping ain't cheap. So you do have to take that into consideration. It definitely wouldn't be the cheapest thing on the market, that's for sure. As for speakers, I don't know what the hell I'd want to put into it. There might be an X pattern thing. It might be one thing or another, but if that's something you guys would like to see, hey, you know what? Maybe we can make it happen. I definitely want to find the absolute best speakers possible for that, though, so it could be kind of cool. If you guys really would like to see an SMG signature cabinet, leave a comment below, and I can bring some of that to some manufacturers. Maybe we can make that happen. Maybe not. We'll see. But for all you guys who don't have the room for a speaker cabinet or the soundproofing or anything like that, Spectre Digital is going to have something really cool coming out next month. As far as impulse responses are concerned, you guys are definitely not going to want to miss that one.
My basic California tweed says tubes sound incredible.
Yeah, and I'll bet you just about any other amp you put through that Mesa California Tweed's going to sound pretty awesome too. Mesa is world renowned for building amazing speaker cabinets. And that's the thing. The really important thing is the speaker, not so much the amp, and definitely not so much the tubes. Been talking to a couple other manufacturers. We're definitely going to do a tube versus a solid state blind shootout coming up real soon. Should be an awful lot of fun. That got inspired by that video I put out there last month about the new Orange Super Crush, which is just a phenomenal sounding solid state amp. Stay tuned for that one. It's going to be very interesting indeed.
I'm not a musician, I'm just a music lover, so my opinion doesn't mean much, and I'm not ignorant, so I see points that you're making. However, I've seen some really good professional guitar players, Mark Tremonti comes to mind, who really believe in tube amplifiers and have gone to great lengths to get the right tubes for the right tones. So are these guys just as stupid as some of your commenters?
Flag down, flag down. Okay, your logical fallacy is the appeal to authority. We think because guitar player A, who's very famous for playing guitar very well, is an expert on thing B, we must automatically assume that person is correct. I'd say that the same rules apply to everybody. If you're going to make claims about how tubes work and how they affect your tone, show us some frequency response graphs. As far as I'm concerned, I want to see evidence to back up claims, no matter who they're coming from, because we're all capable of making mistakes. I'm not saying he's wrong per se, and I'm certainly not saying he's stupid. Those are your words, not mine. What I'm saying is I'd like to see just a little bit more evidence than take my word for it.
People with golden ears also tend to have very tender butts. Also, my tone is in my hands because my hands are made of African walnut.
Sounds like your typical guitar forum commenter.
I still can't believe people watch Jim Lill's videos and try to refute the evidence they are seeing. I guess they don't like being told they're wrong about something they believed all their lives.
Well, it's just like any other religion being proved wrong. People freak the fuck out and scream, "You've proven nothing! This means nothing to me! I can't hear you!" That's exactly what we're getting in reactions from people who just cannot fathom that they might actually be wrong. I mean, and this is the thing. I can't speak for Jim Lill. I'm a huge fan of his videos. All I can say on my end is I am trying to save you guys some grief and some money. That is it. I know what it's like to work your ass off for a piece of gear and then have it not deliver the goods when you're looking for the massive tone improvement. I certainly drop my money into the expensive converters. I certainly drop my money into the expensive preamps and all the rest of the bullshit that goes along with it. And then after many, many failures, I came to realize that, yeah, really what I'm looking for as far as recorded guitar tone comes down to is all in the speaker. And the great thing is I've got video after video after video to back those claims up. Most of the people who are screaming about Jim Lill's videos and comments and whatnot probably didn't do the work and probably didn't record anything to back up their claims that they could magically hear a difference. Okay, great. Let's see your results. Let's see what you did. Well, I don't have to prove anything to you. It's usually what we get. Hey guys, this episode of Spectre Sound Studios is brought to you by 70,000 Tons of Metal. Now, if you're into metal and you want to get over the midwinter blahs, get some sun, and have the most fun you are ever going to have with your clothes on, then this is the event to be part of. From January 30th to February 3rd, 70,000 Tons of Metal sails from Miami to Bimini and back, with concerts going on constantly. Now, I did this cruise back in 2019, and it was an absolute blast. It was 4.5 days of absolutely nothing but metal. You can see as many shows as you like, sit in the sun, do an excursion, work out in the gym. Hell, you can just hang out in the hot tub if you like. And there's all kinds of special events as well. There's meet and greets with the artists, the belly flop contest, and even all-night metal karaoke. The food is great, the music is great, and most importantly, the people are absolutely amazing. 60 bands are going to be on board, and at the time of shooting this, 31 have been announced, including Cynic, Camelot, Uli Roth, and Nightwish, not to mention Jungle Rot, Creator, and Destruction, with many more to be announced over the coming days. This is going to be the metal event of the year, and I can't wait to do it again. Check out 70,000tons.com to get your tickets today, and I hope to see you on board.
Hey Glenn, why even bother with amps? Since the player's hands don't matter, the pickups don't matter, tubes don't matter, most of all the tonewood doesn't matter, the only thing that does matter is the speaker. Why not finally sacrifice the last holy cow, the amp? Why is there still a whole fucking stack of tube amps in your studio? Shouldn't everyone just get a desktop amp sim or a Boss GX100 if they play live? Scream science in the faces of non-believers and be done with it once and for all.
Oh, I just love it when people put words in my mouth. Now, I never said tubes don't matter. I'm just saying varying brands of tubes really don't matter as much as we've been led to believe. Guys, this show just goes a whole lot smoother if you actually listen to the things I'm saying, instead of putting words in my mouth or making up things that I didn't actually say. It never ceases to amaze me how pissed off people get about things I never actually said. Pickups matter in terms of output and noise rejection, that sort of thing. If they hum or they squeal or feedback or stuff like that, of course pickups matter. Cleaner pickups are better. Higher output pickups are better, especially if you're doing metal. Tubes matter, of course they do. Tube amps tend to sound a whole lot better when they've got functional tubes rather than ones that are getting worn out. Changing out your preamp tubes with brand X versus brand Y for a magical combination, that stuff is just complete nonsense, and we pretty much proved that last year. And if you choose to ignore that, hey, it's your money. Now, when it comes to the subject of this giant stack of tube amps behind me, I just had a conversation with a producer friend of mine about exactly that thing, because there is new amp sim technology coming out that is getting very, very good. And I've actually been using it on the last few episodes, and you know who's noticed? Absolutely fucking nobody. So believe me, these might be moving in the next couple of weeks. We'll see. I don't think I'm going to get rid of them entirely anytime soon, but I think you might be seeing a whole lot less of them on the show, because the technology really has begun to move into the point where it's getting very, very difficult to tell one of these from a simulation. And I think the actual replacement of tube amps is just going to be inevitable at this point. It's literally the case of car versus horse and buggy. Yes, there are still horse and buggies out there. There are enthusiasts and all that, but a car is going to get you where you want to go that much faster. The Sims I'm working with these days are getting me where I want to go that much faster. I don't have to mic shit up. All I got to do is just plug in and go. I don't even have to reamp things for my full mix tracks anymore. It's just basically throw the amp sim on and away we go, unless I'm demoing a live amp, that sort of thing. So my suggestion would be buckle your seatbelt. I'm imagining the technology is going to get very interesting in the next 3 years.
Tone tubes are very important. Just ask my Tonewood, Tone Tuners, Tone Bridge, Tone Scratch Plate, and Tone Brand stickers. I'd like to speak to a Tone manager, please. Tone Karen is Tone offended.
Tone Karen. Wasn't that just the person who was on Butthurt of the Week?
This is excellent. As a trained scientist, I enjoy the fact there is evidence and comparison methods here rather than a load of reckon like we often get from other channels. Thank you, Glenn!
Oh man, you're talking about the Vintage Guitar Tone Challenge. Boy, did we ever learn a lot from that. Primarily that when it really comes down to it, guitar players will talk about tonewood and vintage tone this and awesome tone that. But when you put them to the test, they can't tell the difference between a 1962 Gibson ES335 and a hunk of shit harmony from 1980.
I'm surprised you'd think these terms don't mean anything. Warm means a roll-off above 9 kHz. Presence and clarity usually correspond to a boost in some frequencies between 3 and 9 kHz. Sure, they're not scientifically defined, but they're not actually meaningless either.
Dude, if they're not scientifically defined, then they are fucking meaningless! Presence and clarity between 3 to 9 kilohertz? Warm means a roll-off above 9 kilohertz? Dude, whose ass did you pull those terms out of? This is the first I've even heard of that. Please stop spreading bullshit! You're not doing anyone any favors, believe me.
My band collapsed due to some of these. Some members got lazy or had different priorities and blew off practice, so I picked up the slack and wrote everything. Then I got accused of being arrogant and controlling when the new song I shit out got a positive response. Meanwhile, the bass player's girlfriend started banging the vocalist. They lied and said he was super abusive toward her. And since he was the least link, I took their word and fired him only to find out they lied and had done him wrong the whole time by kicking him out. Then I just folded the band and gave up for a few years. Hopefully I can get back into it though.
Yeah, you know what? That sounds like a very typical rock and roll story if I've ever heard one. Oh man, is it ever difficult to get a band off the ground and keep it together? Just want to give a shout out here to my friends in the band Armored Saint. They're a band that's started, in the early 80s in high school, and they are still together with all the original members, and I think they're the only rock band in existence who've ever been able to pull it off for that long, so hey, massive salute to those guys. You are definitely the exception to the rule, that's for sure. But yeah, most of the other time, yeah, you're dealing with that kind of drama, so good luck. Ain't rock and roll fun?
Certain woods cost more than others. It's just a fact. Does it make a difference in the sound of an electric guitar? Not a whole lot. But it's okay to spend money on something that costs more simply because it's made of higher quality materials. A dresser made of plywood does the same job as one made of solid mahogany. It's okay to buy something that's made of higher quality materials simply because you want something made of higher quality materials. Buy what you want, and you shouldn't let anyone tell you what you should or shouldn't spend your money on. Everyone should just buy and play what they want and let others do the same. Everyone has to argue about everything these days. None of this stuff matters in the grand scheme. If we buy something because we like it, that's good enough.
Hey, Chris, you know what? I'm in total agreement with you there. You've got a great point. You know, if somebody likes the wood because of the aesthetics, that's absolutely fine. I've got no problem with that. If somebody wants to spend that kind of money on expensive wood, that's absolutely fine. As long as they know the reason they're buying it for is the looks and nothing that the manufacturers are falsely claiming, like tonewood has some magical property that's going to make your guitar sound better. Now, I don't have a problem with somebody buying a guitar because they like the look of the wood. That's absolutely fine. And you know what? If they can do it, more power to them. I've got a problem with manufacturers making false claims that, oh, this particular type of wood is going to give you a certain magical quality to your guitar sound. Fuck that bullshit. And that's exactly what it is. 100% bullshit. We did the test last year. 2 guitars, exactly the same, different wood. The tone difference was about that big, if at all. And in a mix, nobody, and I mean nobody, could tell the difference between the 2 guitars. I even offered to give one of those guitars away to whoever could pick it up. Nobody could. When it comes to the whole quote-unquote tonewood thing, it just pisses me off to see people throw away good money for no good reason.
Glenn! Can I just say the weirdest thing about this video is it's musicians arguing musician problems with other musicians, but they all seem to neglect the idea of the audience standpoint. We all have hang-ups and biases we carry with us, but the idea of pleasing the audience is being so ignored by the tone and sound arguments that we forget the idea of the end product, which is what we do to make sure our art is recognized, while at the same time making sure our audience is happy with what we create and continuing to support us. I love your work, Glenn, because you make me think about my stance on music, it both as an art form and as a business.
Yeah, I think you got a wonderful point there, man. I did that video there a couple of years ago called The Truth About Expensive Gear for Local Bands. And it was based on an observation I met going to see a show. And, you know, one band went on with some beginner gear and one band went on with some high-end gear. And you know who noticed? Absolutely fucking nobody. You know, we sit there and we tell ourselves all this fucking nonsense about all this unimportant crap. But the big question is, can you fucking get an audience's attention and make them want to come back and see you again? I get this on Monday Mix Reviews all the time. You guys should really check this show out, by the way. It's an awful lot of fun. I do it every Monday morning and every Monday evening. It's really fucking great. I help guys with their mixes, but I'm also trying to give them some advice when it comes to songwriting. And I even asked the audience at this point, would you listen to this song more than once? Can we even get through the song? I mean, there is a lot, and I mean an awful lot, of self-indulgent riff salad wankery that nobody gives a fuck about except the person who wrote it. Well, I'm not trying to please an audience, but why the fuck are you doing it? If you don't expect anybody to listen to it, why the fuck are you doing that? It just doesn't make any sense. Why fucking send it to anybody else to get the mix even reviewed? That sounds like a cop-out to me, to be completely honest. You know, we've got some really great songwriters come in, but most of it is pretty fucking crap because people are thinking more along the lines of, look at me, how awesome I am on guitar, rather than, let me try and write a song that's going to stick with people and make them want to listen again. That is the great disconnect these days with the desktop metal musician, in my opinion anyway, is that nobody is really thinking about their actual fucking audience. It all comes down to ego stroking.
Harley Benz are not tone machines. You've tried enough of them.
I'd also appreciate it if you tried using an apostrophe. Okay, I'm gonna have to take exception to that because most of the tone's coming from the speaker and not the guitars. So if you're having problems getting your Harley Benton to sound good, I'm gonna say, what kind of speakers are you using, and have you considered possibly upgrading those? The Harley Bentons are just absolutely fine. I've used this Harley Benton double cut on several recordings over the last couple months, and it's great. It stays in tune and it plays wonderfully. I mean, seriously, what more do you need? I used this on the How to Get the Black Sabbath tone video. Nobody was complaining about the tone. Everyone was kind of blown away by that mix, as a matter of fact. So if you're having problems with getting the right tone, it's not the guitar, you dumb shit. All right, guys, this next one's a bit of a doozy, so buckle your seatbelts. It's gonna be a minute.
This was a great experiment. Just for the record, I am a scientist and a professional evaluator. Yes, this is a job. I'm a technical director of a research and evaluation company that does research and evaluation as a business and that has very detailed ethical procedures and guidelines. Hot take, your experiment was not unethical. You did not say you would be testing those specific guitars, just that you would be testing 3 unspecified vintage guitars. Thus, you tested people's comprehension and analytical skills, which almost everyone failed. And you specifically asked people to use their ears. The experiment was clearly framed from the perspective of testing people's claims to be able to hear differences in tone. Risk of injury and or trauma, very low. There would be a few major ethical problems that if we were testing this hypothesis properly in my company, we would go about it fairly differently. More data would be required for a start. But that's a separate and largely unrelated point. Your experiment was not unethical. And by the way, I also fell for it. I was trying to puzzle out the differences between the 3 guitars that were displayed. I decided I had no real clue which was which, so I just didn't participate. But if I had, I would have also fallen into your elegant huffalump trap. Despite being a technical director, etc., but as one scientist to another, this simply makes me give you a thumbs up and a respectful nod. Experiment returned valid data, even if it wasn't the data that most people wanted to see. But that's science.
I always said this, the best science experiments are the ones when we get results we don't expect. The first one I did on this show is the sound really in the hands, because I've heard guitar players say that so many fucking times it makes me want to fucking vomit. And when we put it through the test, turns out it was absolute bullshit. Technique is in the hands, clarity is in the hands, but the tone, that's in the speaker. You know, and if you don't like it, that's fine. You can deny it all you want, but nobody has made a test that has invalidated that video yet. And if somebody has, I would love to see it, because I am always down for learning new things.
It's amazing how people's egos get in the way, and it is a sad state that people simply refuse to admit that they were wrong about a topic. He proves the point, and people just can't handle it. What makes them so stupid is that videos like this, or Jim Lil's, is that these vids are to help us. Not only to save money, but to actually help musicians focus on what things are truly important. Great job, Glenn.
Well, at least somebody understands what I'm after. I'm not out to make anybody feel bad. I'm not out to humiliate anybody. And it's certainly not a case of I'm right, you're wrong. It's like, hey, how can we save money here, and where can we spend what little money we do have in the right spot that's going to give me the best value? That's the whole point of this. That is it. So if you're butthurt, I'm sorry, that's not my aim. Just please keep your head about you and hang on to your wallet the next time you go shopping for music gear.
Do you feel like these tests devalue high-end handmade custom instruments?
Oh, I don't know about that. I've got a high-end custom-made instrument being made right now by a brand called Vicious Guitars out of Toronto. They're making me a very high-end handmade custom flying V, and I've seen the preliminary pictures of it, and it's fucking gorgeous. Aesthetically, you know, that's the thing. It's going to look very good. It's going to have that nice made by hand feel. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, as long as they don't go making any claims about tonewood or other fucking nonsense like that, because quite frankly, I'm not going to help them spew that nonsense. I'm going to be like, if they make claims on this, I'm going to be like, hey, you know what, it looks good. What they're saying about tonewood, don't fall for that shit. If you like the way a guitar looks, great. If you like the way it plays, great. But there's nothing magical about it.
Glenn, I'm watching your video and my wife is sitting across the room and says to me, when did Tom Hanks start doing angry gear reviews? And I didn't know he was into metal music. That killed me. I closed my eyes and listened to you, and yeah, you do kind of sound a bit like Tom Hanks. Love the reviews, man. Fuck the haters and keep being you.
Wilson! Really? I sound like Tom Hanks? Okay. Wish I had his money. All right, everyone, thanks so much for watching. And if you didn't check my video out yesterday where I did the big pickup shootout, please do. It's really cool. We try out a cream tea guitar with a hot swappable pickup system, and we get to listen to the massive tone changes that happen when you swap out, say, like an Alnico for a ceramic. It's definitely a video you don't want to miss. You can check it out right here. Thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you on the cruise of 70,000 tons of metal.